Welcome back to the Star Spangled Tournament Expert Division Weekend Round, hole number 9. Here we're going to be doing a slice shot with our APOC and a luminary type ball, setting up for a thorn bounce up for the albatross. We're going to use a starting position with a base wind. I'll go over that now. So the spin set is 6 top, 1 right spin. If you have 6.5 top, you can use 6.5 top here. But I've been doing all my testing with 6 top spin to confirm that APOC 5 can play this shot. So the starting position is like this. The green ring touching the fairway rough line at P5 max rest. That's going to be with all your APOCs, okay? So APOC 5 through 8 is when you're talking about the green ring, it's negligible. So just no matter what APOC you have the right side of your green ring touching the rough fairway line like you see here at P5 max rest. Again, 6 top, 1 right. Use 6.5 if you have it. The only reason I'm using this ball here is for those that do not have a luminary 2 side spin. I made this shot 1 side spin friendly. So even if you got the old P5 side spin 1 win 3 balls, you can use those. You can use these newer ones. You can use luminaries. So it just gives you more options for shot. That's your starting position. That's with an 8-mile-an-hour base wind, all right? So from there, APOC 7 and 8 will shift right 0.1 ring for every 0.1 wind above 8 miles an hour, right? So if you got a 8.6 wind, you'll shift right 0.6 of a ring, okay? And you shift left the same distance for winds below 8 miles an hour. So you got 7.6 wind, you'll shift left 0.4 rings. If you're using an APOC 5 or 6, you will shift right 0.1 rings for every 0.2 wind above 8 mile an hour, right? So if you got an 8.4 wind, you'll shift 0.2 rings, right or left, depending whether it's above or below. So you shift right for winds higher than 8. You shift left for winds lower than 8. APOC 7 and 8 moves 0.1 to 0.1. APOC 5 and 6 moves 0.1 rings for every 0.2 wind. Right? It's the same curl and all the wind angles. I haven't seen any wind angles that would cause me to have to use a different curl set. What I've noticed on this shot is that some of the wind angles you'll land a little closer to the bunker. Some of the wind angles you land a little further from the bunker. They've all been safe for me using the same amount of curl in this same setup. So I will be testing it, further with other accounts. But for now, I've played this shot at least a good 15 times. I haven't had any issues. Even I had one drive that came up just a little bit short, but even when it came up short, I was still able to aim right side of the tree. The tree wasn't in the way, and I was still able to get to the hole for the albatross. So, been a pretty consistent shot. This is the curl, your center line touching the outside of the triangle right curl. That's what we're looking for. Like I said, every wind, I'm using the same curl. Every wind angle, I'm using the same curl. I haven't had any issues there. Looking for 450 plus on the drive. Basically anything that gets you past the trees should be good. For the approach shot, we're playing P2 plus 35% at slider. That's P2 in your app plus 35% at slider. We're counting rings for men, and we're using one backspin only. So find your men line, add your one backspin, then count rings for men until your ball guide is about 1 cup short and aimed center cup. Just like you see there, 1 cup short, aimed center cup. Rings for men are as follows. So if you're 0 to 25 rings from men, it's going to play 1-to-1 slider per ring pushed up. So if you push up 20 rings, you'll play 20 slider, right? Anything above that is pretty much the same. So 26 rings is 27 slider, 27 rings is 28 slider, 28 is 29, 29 rings pushed up is 30 slider, 30 rings pushed up is 31, 31 pushed up is 33 slider, 32 rings pushed up is 34 slider, 33 is 35, 34 is 36. I haven't had to push up any more than that. And there's one other set of tweaks that you need to understand for the approach shot. This is real important. So we're going to, just like we did in the opening round or the qualifying round, we're going to use tweaks based on our slider percentage. So if you are between 0 and 20 slider, then you don't need to make any changes unless your wind is 8.4 mile an hour or above. So anything 8.3 or less, you play the standard adjustment. If you're 8.4 or above, you'll add 0.2 to the adjustment. That's between 0 and 20 slider. If you're between 21 and 30 slider, you'll add 0.2 to the adjustment. And if your winds are 8.4 or above, you'll add an additional 0.2 to the adjustment. So if you're 26 slider, you got an 8.5 wind, you're going to get your slider and you're going to add 0.4 to your adjustment, right? Between 31 and 40 slider, you're going to add 0.4 to the adjustment. And if your winds are 8.4 or higher, you'll add an additional 0.2 to that as well. So if you're 36 slider and your wind is 8.6, you're going to add an additional 0.6 to your adjustment. All right? And those might sound a little complicated, but it's really not. Play this a couple of times. Make sure your drive is rolling out nicely. Make sure you're getting your offset and you're tweaking your slider percentages properly. Pull straight, P2 plus 35 in your app. One backspin only. Aim center cup, 1 cup short. Don't forget your tweaks. Hit perfect, and you'll have a really, really good opportunity at walking away with an albatross. So good luck. I hope you get the drop, and see you next tournament. Good luck, everyone.